about 8:45 p.m. West Coast time on Friday night, November 7th, I guess. I think we need to take a moment and really, really take in what happened tonight. The President of the United States filed an emergency appeal with the United States Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to nullify a court order from a lower court that ordered him and his administration to fully fund SNAP and food stamp benefits during the government shutdown for 42 million Americans, including 14 million children. The President of the United States asked the United States Supreme Court for an emergency order permitting him to starve 42 million Americans and 14 million children, and the United States Supreme Court granted his request. The United States Supreme Court granted tonight Donald Trump's request that they permit him to starve 42 million Americans, including 14 million children, during the government shutdown, which is in its 37th day. It is in its 37th day because the sticking point is that Republicans in the House and the Senate want to take away health care from 20 million Americans. So tonight, Friday night, November 7th, the government has been shut down for 37 days because Republicans want to take away health care from 20 million Americans, and the President of the United States, because the government is shut down, demanded that the United States Supreme Court give him permission to starve 42 million Americans, including 14 million children, and the Supreme Court sided with the president. We are the wealthiest nation on the planet. We have more billionaires than any other country on the planet. And our government tonight, Republicans control the White House, the House, the Senate, the United States Supreme Court. Republicans are fighting to take health care away from 20 million Americans and to starve 42 million Americans, including 14 million children. And the United States Supreme Court said, yes, you can take SNAP and food stamp benefits away from 42 million Americans and 14 million children. We are the wealthiest nation on the planet. Yesterday, the board of Tesla approved a $1 trillion pay package for one guy, a ketamine-addled fucking lunatic who no longer has control of his own bladder, named Elon Musk, who earlier this year eradicated USAID with the endorsement of our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, which is going to result in the deaths of 15 million of the poorest people around the globe. Our government is fighting to kill Americans and to kill 15 million of the poorest people around the planet, including millions of children. And Republican evangelical Christians across this nation are celebrating tonight because of this Supreme Court decision. And what is our alternative to that? AIPAC corporatist Democrats like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, who will, without fail, vote in favor of allowing the corporations that their corporate donors represent to bleed all of us dry, $5, $10, $15 at a time. We live in a country with a two-party system, and neither one of those parties represents the interests of the bottom 90% of this country. Democrats represent corporations and AIPAC. Republicans represent Donald Trump, oligarchs, in the goal of having a theocratic dictatorship. Republicans want to eliminate the administrative state, the executive branch, the EPA, clean water, clean air. They've eliminated the Department of Education, special education, IEP programs, free school lunch. Republicans want to terminate any department, agency, or program that provides any benefit whatsoever to American citizens. But they want just enough government to exist to make sure that we take health care away from trans kids, and to make sure that trans people can't put the gender identity that they identify with on their passports. They want to keep just enough government to control who we are allowed to love, who we are allowed to marry, who we are allowed to fuck, what we are allowed to learn in school. It better not be mean to white people. And you better have the 10 Commandments up on that classroom wall. And there's not going to be any DEI. There's not going to be anything at all to benefit any marginalized community in this country. Quite the opposite. The federal government will be used to punish marginalized communities in the United States. Every single marginalized community that you can possibly imagine. And even if you're straight and white and on the left, if you vote for the left, if you donate money to candidates on the left, then this government is also going to label you as a domestic terrorist. Democrats are going to be like, nah, you guys can do all of those things. You can marry who you want, love who you want, fuck who you want, and da-da-da-da. But you better not fucking say anything mean about Israel. And we're going to keep sending $4 billion of your taxpayer funds to Israel every year in exchange for absolutely nothing, wherein Israel has socialized medicine, socialized education, and free abortions on demand. And we are going to provide them with the weapons that they use to murder Palestinians inside the Gaza Strip and Palestinians in the West Bank. And even better than that, we're all going to take little trips over to Israel every year, paid for by Israel with the money that we gave them from your tax dollars. And we're all going to clamor to get into photographs with Benjamin Netanyahu when he comes to Washington, D.C. We are a country with a two-party system, and neither party represents the bottom 90%.